warm welcome to Hope TV Newswatch tonight as we bring you news that made headlines today. Hoping you had a wonderful day. My name is Melissa Oduor. On the sign language is Boniface Burevi. Newswatch begins now. Our Christians around the world tonight are marking the start of Lent, which is a time of prayer, fasting and reflection leading up to Easter. Here in Nairobi, a number of churches observed Ash Wednesday with solemnity as believers embraced this time of spiritual preparation. Our reporter Kennedy Kimani begins our bulletin tonight with that story.
Christians across the world have today observed Ash Wednesday, marking the beginning of the Lenten period, which is 40 days of spiritual reflection, prayer and fasting in preparation for Easter. In Nairobi, Anglicans and Catholics marked the day with solemnity, each reflecting on the call to draw closer to God.
Ash Wednesday is the start of the Lent period. It is a day that we are reminded to humble ourselves before God and to have time to remember that we came from dust and to dust we shall return.
Ash Wednesday is both a symbolic and communal occasion. The ashes placed on foreheads in the sign of the cross remind believers of humility, mortality, and the need to turn their hearts to God.
Ashes that we use are ashes that are from dried palms that we used last year during Palm Sunday. It is a time of humility, humbling ourselves before God, a time of repentance, a time of going back to God.
Through fasting, prayer and reflection, the faithful enter the 40-day journey of Lent, preparing spiritually for the celebration of Christ's resurrection.
Repentance is important, and that is the only way to God. He says that when you come to Him, you must be holy. And when we fast and put ashes on ourselves, He's saying we are surrendering to God. We know we cannot do without Him.
Christians of many denominations have observed Ash Wednesday, entering Lent with prayer, fasting and reflection. Across continents, the season unites believers in a shared spiritual journey centered on Christ's life, death and resurrection.
Tunapokumbushwa haya kuhusu mavumbi, tukizingatia ilikuwa ishara ya kuonyesha kwamba tujirudie sisi wenyewe. Tuangalie tumepotea njia. Na sasa tunapaswa kurudi katika njia ambayo Mwenyezi Mungu anataka tuwe.
This is a spiritual journey where Christians and men and women of goodwill are invited to reflect.
Siku ya kujinyima au kusaidia wenzetu maskini ambao wenye hawezi kujiweza.
This year, Ash Wednesday coincides with the start of Ramadan for Muslims, a month of fasting and reflection. In Judaism, fasting is observed on specific holy days throughout the year. While prayer and fasting appear across different faiths, for Christians, Lent remains uniquely focused on Christ Jesus. Believers here in Nairobi and across the world have officially entered the season of Lent. Believers embraced Ash Wednesday to pause, reflect, and renew their faith in anticipation of Easter. Kennedy Kimani, Hope TV Newswatch at the All Saints Cathedral, Nairobi.
Our Christians in Bungoma also joined fellow Catholics around the world to mark the beginning of the 40 days of Lent to usher in the Easter season with prayers. Father Collins Mambo from the Christ the King Church castigated cases of insecurity around the world and said the church will take this season to pray for world peace. He said the Lent period was appropriate for fasting and praying, also for the vulnerable in the society.
That's why tunafaa basi kujitenga na anasa fulani, starehe fulani, ili tuwe na muda wa kujitambua sisi wenyewe. Na tunapojitambua tunaangalia ni wapi ambapo basi tumepotea, kwa sababu hapa tumeyatenda. Na tuweze basi kuzinyosha njia zetu. Za labda mimi kama
there on Ash Wednesday as the Lent season begins, wraps up that segment of the bulletin. Moving on, President William Ruto has made a tour across the eastern part of Nairobi alongside Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja just a day after the national government and the Nairobi City County signed an 80 billion shilling cooperation deal. The agreement focuses on housing, roads, water, sewer systems, and the long-awaited cleanup of the Nairobi River. And while the deal has sparked political debate, both leaders insist it is all anchored on service delivery and not control, saying it will help fix Nairobi's long-standing infrastructure challenges. Today's visit highlighted the completed trunk sewer line project, a key sanitation investment expected to improve living conditions for thousands of residents. Our reporter Dolly Mwirigi tells us more.
Give them a round of applause.
Just a day after signing an 80 billion shilling cooperation deal, President William Ruto and Nairobi's Governor Johnson Sakaja brought their message to the ground in Lucky Summer, Ruaraka.
Nairobi.
During the tour, the two leaders inspected the newly completed trunk sewer line, a project resident says has been long overdue. For years, families have endured burst pipes, overflowing drainage and raw sewage flowing into homes during heavy rains. Many described it as a health hazard they have lived with for decades. But now the new trunk line will ease pressure on the aging sewer network, improve sanitation and connect thousands of households to safer services.
Hii sewer system inajengwa. Kuanzia mwezi ujao, mwezi wa 3, sasa tutaanza kujenga madaraja. Hapa tuko na daraja 44 kwa hii Nairobi River. Ndio watu wa Nairobi waweze kuvuka hii Nairobi River bila ya hatari na bila ya kusumbuliwa.
But the visit was about more than just infrastructure. On Tuesday, the national government in Nairobi City County signed a sweeping 80 billion shilling framework aimed at accelerating development across the capital. The deal covers housing, roads, water, sewer upgrades, and the rehabilitation of Nairobi River. The broader partnership will be implemented in phases, with more projects set to roll out across the capital in the coming months.
My hands are full.
The agreement has sparked criticism from some political quarters with concerns over county autonomy. President Ruto dismissed the claims, saying the partnership is about delivering services faster and more efficiency, not about politics.
We have made that commitment that Nairobi must be motorable, Nairobi must be connected, and that is why we are expanding the road infrastructure in Nairobi County. We are committing resources, over 13 billion shillings, to build an extra 200 kilometers of road in Nairobi County so that this can truly be the hub and the city and the capital of the Republic of Kenya.
Governor Sakaja echoed that position, assuring residents that the county government remains in charge of its mandate. He said the deal simply allows both levels of government to put resources and expertise for large-scale projects.
Tumeamua kushirikiana. Tushirikiane na rais ama tuachane. Wangapi wamesema county na serikali kuu ishirikiane? Tufanye kazi pamoja. Tuongeze mabarabara, masoko na Nairobi ipate chapa zaidi kuwafanyia nyinyi kazi. Si ndo tunataka? Ama ni aje? We have come together between the national government and the county government in the interest of the people of Nairobi. Umoja ni nguvu, utengano ni udhaifu. Tuendelee ama...
Both leaders described the Lucky Summer project as a sign of what the partnership intends to deliver visible improvements in people's daily lives. The broader plan will be rolled out in phases, with more major projects expected to begin in the coming months. Dolly Mwirigi for Hope TV.
Thank you, Dolly, for that report. Now, the Ministry of Interior and National Administration will form a special Metro Police unit under the controversial pact, also known as the Cooperative Agreement between Nairobi County and the national government. According to Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, the unit will deal with the runway crime in Nairobi capital city, while increasing CCTV surveillance in major roads and streets. Murkomen has assured that the special unit has been based on global best practices and will act as a prototype to be deployed in all the city areas in the country as a model of enhancing security. The CS was speaking during a development tour in Naivasha, termed the working relationship signed between Nairobi County and the national government as the best framework to enhance intergovernmental relations, backed by the already established Urban Areas and Cities Act. The pact has seen the county cede some of its functions, including water and sewerage, roads, bridges and drainage, housing and related development infrastructure. Commenting on the chaos in Kitengela on Sunday during a political meeting by a section of ODM members, Murkomen termed the incident, which led to the death of one person and disrupted businesses, as unfortunate, while condemning the use of hired goons in the political gathering. He also faulted the leaders for not notifying police on the rally.
Nairobi Metropolitan Police Unit is, as we speak, we have county police leadership in Nairobi and regional police leadership in Nairobi. In fact, we subdivided Nairobi to 3 regions. And what the president was saying is for us to look at how other metropolis work all over the world, in London, in other progressive cities. And we don't want to benchmark with small or fellow developing countries. Now we want to benchmark on where we are going, which is first world. We want to look at how do you reorganize metropolis and how do you provide their security? What are the additional security equipments, additional security infrastructure, including cameras that are supposed to be used in the city? What kind of vehicles are required? We'll do in Nairobi will become the prototype that we will apply now in all the other 4 cities in the country and other upcoming urban areas. So these, we are going to have to work on a very serious paper that looks at comparative analysis and studies of what has happened in other countries. Thankfully, there are other researches that have been done before. We are going to just review and then look at how we will provide a unique policing system within the Nairobi metropolis. And once we are done, then we can take that to Nakuru, Kisumu, Mombasa and Eldoret, and then other upcoming metropolis, so that we recognize that the challenges that police officers face.
Meanwhile, the High Court has certified as urgent a petition challenging the cooperation agreement between the Nairobi County Government and the national government. This is after 2 petitioners, Christine Gathoni and Bernard Peter, moved to court, questioning the legality of the cooperation agreement signed on Tuesday at State House, Nairobi. And as Alice Dana reports, Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna and Embakasi East Member of Parliament Babu Owino have called for the cooperation agreement to be shelved, citing legal breaches.
Just a day after the national government and Nairobi City County government signed a cooperation agreement, the High Court of Kenya has certified as urgent a petition challenging the agreement. The agreement, signed at State House Nairobi and witnessed by President William Ruto, establishes a framework for joint implementation of development projects in the capital. It creates a 2-tier structure comprising a 12-member steering committee and an implementation committee to coordinate initiatives such as roads, markets, drainage systems, and waste management. The steering committee is chaired by Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, with Governor Johnson Sakaja serving as vice chair.
From the onset, I wish to state that my office was neither involved nor consulted before this decision was taken. Indeed, the so-called cooperation agreement itself acknowledges that no public participation was conducted prior to the signing yesterday, a violation of the Constitution that is too egregious to ignore. To then provide in the same agreement that it would be subjected to public participation after the fact is not only disrespectful to the people of Nairobi, but the clearest indication that it is anything but what we are being told it is. What's worse, the agreement is meant to take effect within 14 days, and one wonders whether any meaningful public participation can be had.
Sifuna has also raised financial concerns, alleging that national government agencies owe Nairobi County more than 100 billion shillings in unpaid obligations. Instead of entering into the cooperation agreement,
it is possible to remain faithful to your oath of office. We want development, but only if undertaken in strict accordance with the Constitution. This is, in fact, is the very foundation of leadership. I want to take this opportunity to urge both parties, my governor, Sakaja, and the president, to shelve this agreement in the public interest and maintain fidelity to the Constitution through those ways that I have suggested.
Embakasi East MP Babu Owino has also come out strongly against the agreement, terming it illegal and unconstitutional. Addressing the media, the legislator accused Governor Sakaja of surrendering responsibilities entrusted to him by Nairobi voters.
Nairobians trusted the wrong person, gave power, gave responsibility to a person who was not qualified for the job. That is Governor Sakaja. He's become a disappointment. He's been singing of Nairobi working, and indeed the transfer of functions to the national government is a clear sign that the governor is a born incompetent governor, a governor who cannot deliver services to the citizens of Nairobi.
Meanwhile, the matter is now before the courts. Petitioners Christine Gathoni and Bernard Peter have asked the court to determine the legality of the agreement and to empanel a constitutional bench under Article 165, citing the weighty constitutional issues raised. In certifying the case as urgent, Justice Bahati Mwamuye directed the respondents to file their responses by February 27th this year. The petitioners are expected to submit their written arguments by March 6th, with replies due on March 11th and any final responses by March 13th. The application is scheduled for hearing on March 16th this year via a virtual session. Alice Diana, Hope TV Newswatch.
That story by Alice Diana Rachel takes us to a first short break here on Hope TV News Watch. We'll be back with more news items. Don't go too far.
Get ready for an unforgettable worship experience. Every Sunday on Ultimate Worship. Where we bring you live music, powerful praise, and anointed gospel ministers and bands. Join us every Sunday, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. with a repeat at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Everywhere I go, I see you right there.
It's not just music, it's worship unleashed. It's ultimate worship.
You're too faithful to fail me.
Only on Hope TV, where you look and live.
There's a world out there searching for hope, and you can help bring it home. By becoming a friend of Hope, you're helping us share the love of Jesus through Hope FM and Hope TV. With a donation of any amount, join hands with us to bring hope and point souls to the transforming power of Jesus Christ. Become a friend of Hope today by making your donation through the M-Pesa paybill number 933933, account FOH. For more information on how to become a friend of Hope, call 0116-212-723 or email customerexperience@hopefm.org or visit www.hopemediakenya.org. Friends of Hope, keeping hope alive.
Welcome back. Now, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, has confirmed that preparations for the by-elections scheduled for February 26 in several areas of the country are complete. Speaking when he received the shipment of ballot papers to be used in the Isiolo South constituency by-election and the Evurore and Muminji ward representative seats in Bere North constituency, as well as the West Kabras ward in Malava constituency, Kakamega County. IBC Deputy Chief Executive Officer Obadiah Keitani has assured the voters in the respective areas of a free and fair election exercise. The Electoral Commission has meanwhile urged politicians to maintain peace and abide by the electoral laws as their campaigns enter the home stretch ahead of the conclusion on Saturday, February the 21st.
John Balan, who is the manager in charge of electoral management, IBC. So today, as you are aware, we are having by-elections on 26 February this month in 4 electoral areas. For our main choice of logistics is to transport through lorries, which are guarded by the police, but we have standby choppers. In case of any eventuality, they can be airlifted immediately.
A court in Eldoret has sentenced a man found with a mobile phone belonging to slain Uasin Gishu Senator Jackson Mandago's brother to 7 years in jail. The accused, Lemi Kipkurui Kosgei, was found guilty of robbery with violence and being in possession of stolen items by the Eldoret Principal Magistrate Peter Areri. However, the court did not find any evidence linking him with the murder of Mandago's brother, Johanna Kirwa Kinyor, whose lifeless body was found inside an incomplete building on the outskirts of Eldoret town in 2019. And while the family has welcomed the ruling, it remains with questions on who was behind the murder of their kin.
Sisi hatuna shida na kusema kama hiyo ni uamuzi wa koti. Sisi tu tulikuwa tunauliza kama amepewa miaka 7, nani aliyeua huyu John Kirwa? Tumeridhika na uamuzi, lakini hatujui ni nani mpaka sasa.
Hatujapata kiini hasa kiliyosababisha kifo cha ndugu yetu, lakini kwa uamuzi wa koti tumesema tumeridhika. Lakini jambo ambalo swali bado inabaki kwa akili ni nani ama ni nini ilitendeka mpaka ndugu yetu akatuacha.
To some international news now, tributes continue to pour in for Reverend Jesse Jackson, the legendary U.S. civil rights leader who died on Tuesday, aged 84. Reverend Jackson died peacefully at his home in Chicago, surrounded by family, 3 months after he was hospitalized with a rare brain disease. Reverend Jackson led the American civil rights movement for decades after Dr. Martin Luther King, and was with Dr. King when he was assassinated in 1968. Reverend Jackson is remembered for fiery speeches and populist vision that made him a charismatic champion. U.S. President Donald Trump, in his message of condolence, described Reverend Jackson as a good man with lots of personality, grit, and street smarts. He said Jackson was very gregarious, someone who truly loved the people. Trump said he helped Reverend Jackson get key reforms in the American scene, such as the criminal justice and long-term funding for historically black colleges and universities, passed and signed when no other president would do. Reverend Jackson ran for presidency twice under the Democratic Party ticket. His family has called the father of 6 a tireless change agent who left an indelible mark on history. Indeed, may his soul rest in eternal peace. Moving on, life is slowly grinding to a halt across Cuba, an island of nearly 10 million people, after the Donald Trump administration shut off the flow of oil in an attempt to strong-arm the communist-run island into making significant political and economic reforms. Schools and workers followed to save energy. Classes have been suspended at many schools, and workers followed to save more energy. Near vacant hotels have been shuttered and flights from Russia and Canada cancelled as there is not enough jet fuel on the island for longer international flights. The UK and Canada have warned citizens to avoid non-essential travel to Cuba. Last week, organizers cancelled the yearly Habano Cigar Festival that brings in millions of dollars of revenue. Sherritt International on Tuesday announced that The company is pausing nickel and cobalt mining operations in Cuba amid the fuel crunch. Many government-run hospitals have cut services, and a lack of fuel and working dump trucks have caused trash to pile up across whole neighborhoods. The Trump administration said the Cuban government needs to finally open the island's centralized economy before it collapses. U.S. President Donald Trump told reporters on Monday that the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, is leading efforts to negotiate with the top Cuban officials.
Cuba is right now a failed nation. They don't even have jet fuel to get for airplanes to take off. They're clogging up their runway. We're talking to Cuba right now. I have Marco Rubio talking to Cuba right now, and they should absolutely make a deal because it's really a humanitarian threat. And we have a lot of great Cuban Americans, and they're going to be very happy when they're going to be able to go back and say hello to their relatives and do things that they should have been allowed to do for a long time.
We're looking at business news now. Shipping lines now want Kenya to speedily address continued vessel delays and container holdup at the port of Mombasa, saying it is costing them millions. Through their local agents, the shippers said that while increased global trade has increased activities at the port, the delays threaten Kenya's pole position as a regional maritime hub. Shipping lines say that congestion at the port is locking up assets worth millions of dollars, with vessels forced to wait offshore as yards and inland depots choke with cargo. According to the Kenya Ships Agents Association, KSAA, a single ship delayed outside Mombasa costs operators about $60,000, that's 7.74 million shillings per day, while each container trapped in the system represents an opportunity cost of $100, that's about 12,900 shillings per day. To sports now, veteran boxer Manny Pacquiao will face former light welterweight world champion Ruslan Provodnikov in an exhibition on the 18th of April. Pacquiao and Provodnikov, who retired in 2016, will fight in a 10-round exhibition at the Thomas & Mark Center in Las Vegas. 47-year-old Pacquiao ended a 4-year stint of retirement in July when losing a majority draw against WBC welterweight champion Mario Barrios. The 8-weight world champion called for a rematch after that defeat, but has since switched his direction of travel and will compete in an exhibition bout. Pacquiao and Provodnikov, who retired in 2016, will fight in a 10-round exhibition at the Thomas & Mark Center in Las Vegas. The very best to Pastor Manny Pacquiao there. Moving on, UEFA has launched an official investigation after Real Madrid winger Vinicius Jr. reported alleged racist abuse by Benfica midfielder Gianluca Pestiani during his team's 1-0 win in Lisbon on Tuesday. Now, the Champions League match was halted for 10 minutes by referee Francois Letexier, with both sets of players leaving the pitch shortly after Vinicius had given his side the lead. In a post on his social media, Pestiani said Vini Jr. had regrettably misunderstood what he thought he heard. His Portuguese club Benfica defended Pestiani, saying given the distance, the Real Madrid players could not have heard what they claimed to have heard. Vini Jr., who has been the victim of numerous incidences of racist abuse during his playing career, said in a post on Instagram that racists are cowards who need to put their shots in their mouths to show how weak they are. Those tough words from Vini Jr. ends our bulletin tonight. Many thanks for your company as we brought you news that made headlines today. My name is Melissa Oduor, together with Boniface Mureithi on the sign language. On behalf of the team that made this possible, have a good night.